Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hello and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Kristen, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Amber and Cindy.
Hello.
If this is your first time joining us, we're glad to have you here, and if you're returning, then welcome back. Today, we are talking about The Wizard of Oz versus Alice in Wonderland. So, kind of like if you joined us, I think last season, we had Harry Potter versus The Hobbit, I think. And I think we did like a Marvel.
No, for Lord of the Rings. It was Harry
The
Potter
Hobbit.
versus Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings,
and
bad.
we had Star Wars versus Star Trek. And we've done Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper. Yeah,
so now we're going to pick apart two of my favorites. So The Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland. Both girl gets kind of like swept up into another
alternate reality
or
universe. I don't, there's debate
Dreamland. If you haven't seen either of those, then where the heck have you been all this time? If you haven't read either of those, I highly recommend.
Yep.
Because the movies and cartoons don't do them justice. Totally different stories when you actually like read them. Different experience completely, I think.
Yes.
So I'd like to see what we have to say about the two. I'm pretty sure I know like what's everybody's favorites, but
do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to know?
You can guess mine.
Wizard of Oz for Cindy and Alice in Wonderland for Amber.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I love Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
But I grew up with Wizard of Oz.
I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite over the two. I would have to say, actually, I probably like Wizard of Oz more.
Oh, really?
But
wow.
I do love Alice in Wonderland.
I love Alice in Wonderland too, but I can tell you exactly the first time I saw The Wizard of Oz, and my mother was like, "You need to come watch this movie. You need to come watch this with us." And it came on primetime television. We had a color TV. It was probably pretty well. I think we had a color TV. I'm assuming we had a color TV, but it was pretty new. And my mother remembered The Wizard of Oz from when she was a little girl, because she was, that movie was made in 1939, I believe. And my mother had a love for it, so she insisted that I come watch it. And I was probably like 4 years old, maybe. Or maybe even 3. But I remember distinctly watching that. I remember the house we lived in when it came on. I know where the TV was, everything. And I remember that first time that I saw it because it was magical and I was transported away just like Dorothy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I probably feel the same way. Though I do love Alice in Wonderland, and they're both very kind of similar in a sense where it's a young girl that gets transported to a different time, a different place. And I would say that growing up, Alice in Wonderland was probably more my favorite, but now that I'm older, definitely Wizard of Oz, because I've just studied it so many times and I love all the adaptations to it, especially dystopian adaptations to Wizard of Oz. And I just recently read a book that was a romance adaptation to Wizard of Oz. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
What was that called?
It was called Wretched by Emily McIntyre, the Never After series.
Okay. I remember seeing that and was not aware that that's what that was. Okay.
Yeah, and
Probably not your thing.
Well, probably not.
But I think it's pretty cool. It was probably in that whole series. That's probably my favorite book in the
Really?
whole series. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, who would have guessed that I would have liked Wicked, not the musical, the book? And
Right,
so,
right.
Love the
and I
book.
love that. So
That's probably what gave
That's
me
probably-
my new renewed interest in Wizard of Oz.
that Wicked is probably what it's probably my favorite adaptation of it.
Yeah.
I liked The Wiz too. I thought that was great. It was well done, but I think Wicked, the book, not the musical, was my favorite adaptation of that story.
I loved the musical, but I want to say,
Oh, I'm not saying I didn't
Wicked
like the musical, but it's
probably-
completely different.
yeah,
As we know.
I like the whole idea of the Wicked Witch having a completely, having an actual story,
Right.
and
And there's a reason why they.
I was actually reading a thing about Wizard of Oz the other day, and the reason the Wicked Witch, when they filmed it, didn't have as much screen time is because her costume was so hot and her makeup was so hot that the actress couldn't be in it.
Right. And there's a lot of stories involving the makeup. The Tin Man
Tin
was
Man. Actually, the original guy was
Buddy
like
Epson.
poisoned.
Yeah.
He was allergic to the makeup that they used on the
And
Tin
then
Man,
they got
and he had to
they
drop
got
out.
so they got another guy to do it, and they basically
Ray Bolger.
they
yes.
just made him get also Jack Haley.
Jack Haley. Why was it Ray Bolger?
That's Scarecrow.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I knew that
But
name.
yeah, like the silver, it was like a powder that was actually like
Had
silver,
metallic silver in it. Yeah.
and it like
he had-
poisoned him.
Yeah.
But basically, like they were like, okay, you can't act anymore, so they fired him because he was sick. And
Yeah.
then they got the other guy, and they were like, this is poisonous, but you have to wear it too.
Yeah.
And he got sick too, and like he actually like almost went blind because he got some of it in his eye.
Yeah. There was some weird stuff. And
Yeah.
and like the Margaret Hamilton had
She like almost burned to death.
Yes.
She had like 3rd-degree burns.
yes.
And then they were like, okay, come back and we're going to do another scene where we do the same thing. And she was like, nope. And so they had to get a stunt double to do the same. Yeah, they were like, yeah, we're just going to burn you again because
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
they actually like way overworked
Oops.
them.
Crazy boop.
They way overworked them in The Wizard of Oz. Like they
Yes.
worked
Yeah.
really long days. Did you know like the lion, his costume was actually like a real lion skin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like an
Crazy.
actual lion skin.
Yeah.
They had to wear. They didn't have like air conditioning and stuff like that either. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is
And they were
1939,
dancing
you
and-
know?
yeah.
It's-
So that was your childhood and your mom's childhood. Mine and Kristen's childhood was actually Return to Oz. That
Oh,
came
yeah, I
out
love
when
that
we
one.
were
I was,
kids.
is that the one? That's not the one that is animated.
No.
No.
That's the one where she's in the asylum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I
That-
love that
When
one.
I
That's
looked
a
at
really
that,
great one.
because that was the thing. They kept telling her she was just dreaming. She's just dreaming. It was just a dream. She got hit on the head, whatever. And you think, okay, whatever. But if you go on, like you said, that in that story, it's like, wow, this took a really dark turn. Now, I never read any of the other books, the L. Frank Baum books. I never read anything except the Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz, which is a very different story. Well, I say it's very different.
It is.
It
The
is.
story
It's
is
different.
quite
It was a
different.
children's book, but so I don't know. Is that part true to the story that he told?
I've only read the first one.
Okay.
So the Return to Oz is supposed to be, I believe, the second and third book.
okay. So she actually did go to the asylum.
I haven't read the books, but
Okay, okay.
it's supposed to be the second. I
Okay.
believe the second and third book
okay.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list of things.
to read all the books.
Funny thing is, I'm not one to like have like bad dreams or scary nightmares. Like the Titanic, I remember having a bad dream after I saw that movie because
Mm-hmm.
that was a fantastic emotional movie, and I had a bad dream when I read The Wizard of Oz. Like the witch in the book I thought was far less scary than the one in the movie.
Mm.
Like, I mean, she really wasn't scary, but I'm sure back then that was about as scary as they could make it. But I mean, she wasn't like horrible to me. She was Disney bad, you know?
Right.
But I remember like having a dream after reading that book one night, like waking up in the middle of the night, like
Right.
with a nightmare.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. So I would be curious to know though if that was because like I said it took such a dark turn, and obviously Alice in Wonderland, you know, we're comparing the two. There are some dark parts of it as well. You know, they can be scary for children. You know, the Red Queen, the Queen of Hearts is like
Going around saying off with their heads.
off with their heads, and you know, there's a lot of kind of dangerous things in Alice in Wonderland. Now, I've seen a couple of different variations of it. One of my favorites, of course, I love the Disney animated one. You know,
Yeah.
I actually did not see it until I was much older, but as an adult, there was a made-for-television miniseries.
That one's my favorite.
And that one is probably one of my favorites. And it actually has the poem "The Jabberwocky" in it, and you know, other things. And it has some more dark. You know, it takes a little more dark turn than the original Of course, Disney. You know, they're not going to make it really dark, but
I'm trying to think of that one because there's a couple of versions made for TV, but the one that was it, was that in the 80s?
I believe it was, yes.
Or I'm trying to figure out.
like kind of early mid 80s, I think.
1985.
Okay.
And so that one had, I'm trying to think of all the people that were, they pulled out a lot of famous
Yeah,
people. Ringo Starr was the first one I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, there was a lot of actors and actresses that you probably don't even know who they are. And I'm trying to think. Steve Allen, I think, was in it. What is her name? I think her last name is Channing.
Carol?
Carol Channing. I wanted to say Stockard, but
Roddy McDowell.
yes. Oh my, I cannot even think. The White Queen. Oh, what was her name?
Scott Bale was in it too.
Oh, okay. Don't whisper. Say
The
that out
White
loud.
Queen, the White Queen, the White Queen. I'm trying to remember. She was the chess piece, right?
Yes.
Oh. Gosh.
Well,
Trying to
look
remember.
through the
I am
names.
looking. I'm looking.
See, I need to look that because
Carol Channing is the White Queen, and Anne Gillian is the Red
Anne
Queen.
Gillian, that's her name. I kept wanting to say Jill something. Yes.
So also Beau Bridges was in
yeah.
it, and John Stamos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I don't even know who they are.
I probably would, but I don't have it. I don't have the list in front of me.
Robert Axelrod.
It was a huge cast of characters, and it was really well done. I loved that one.
It was longer too. I felt like that one was because it was made
because
for
it didn't
TV.
just do her first trip to Wonderland. You know, it was her first, and it was Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, I believe.
Yes.
And so it was a little more detailed, and like I said, a little less. I don't know.
I think the story was a little bit more for older kids. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Disney one was because it was very cartoony. There were the little riddles and stuff, but they were very kiddish. Yeah.
Right. So, which one you guessed our favorites? Which one is your favorite?
Oh, The Wizard of Oz for sure.
Oh yeah, I knew that, but
Yeah.
and the reason I can say that is because Kristen watched it so many times when she was a little kid that at the age of like 4, she could recite all the lines from the movie, and whenever she had a Halloween costume for years, she was one of the characters many times over. You've been a scarecrow. You've been
the witch, I've
Dorothy.
been
She's
Dorothy.
been the witch. She's been the lion because you dressed up like a lion for Becky for some dance performance or recital-y thing or something. I don't remember what it was. So, yeah.
Dang, I just haven't been the Tin Man. I should do that sometime.
You should. That would be good. Yeah.
So what's your favorite scene out of The Wizard of Oz?
My favorite scene. That's really hard. Probably.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah, I do love that part.
I do like that. I like where they see the
The Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
Too.
I like the Munchkin Land. Welcome you to Munchkin Land. But I also like the scene in black and white, the original beginning of the movie or early part of the movie where Dorothy sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because I always thought that was the most beautiful song, and I just loved that part. I did, and I love that song, and I thought Judy Garland was just breathtakingly beautiful. So, I always liked that part. And I liked the part when they came to the Emerald City because I thought the Emerald City was really pretty.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool looking. So, yeah.
So I like the part where the trees get mad.
Oh, and they're throwing the apples.
Throwing the apples, the
Yeah.
rotten apple.
Okay.
Gosh, I like all of it. Like yeah. There's probably the Munchkin Land
Yeah.
scene. is
Munchkin
one of my
Land is
favorites.
probably the most I'm not
That was the most magical part of
it,
the,
it was the surreal.
yeah, because
It was the most
new
surreal
discovery,
part
yeah.
because they're living in these tiny little houses and mushrooms and it just looked
eggs.
yeah,
Some of them
it
look
just
like eggs.
looked unreal, you know, and so that was kind of a really
And it looked unreal
interesting
for
set.
her too. Like she's
Right.
like wandering around, like where the heck am I?
right. I have a feeling.
So
we're
that
not in
scene is
Kansas
actually
anymore.
really cool because I believe they started filming in black and white, and then Technicolor became available, and then they
Yes.
just were like,
They
"Well,
just
this
said,
is
"Well,
perfect.
embrace
Let's
this. Let's
switch
do
it
this."
over."
That was the way I understood it as well. I'm
And-
not sure if that's true or
And
not.
that's
but
like, I don't know, it makes it kind of cool. Like,
yeah, totally. It does that whole switch from the black and white to color, and
I love the whole scene, like the woods and stuff, because it looks like a play. The way the scene in the background, it's like you can tell there's a backdrop there because it kind
Right.
of fades into.
It looks painted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it does. It looks like a painting. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's very creepy.
Well,
Like
it probably was
especially
painted.
where they
Yeah.
get to the part where the witch lands on the house
Oh yeah,
and she like threatens them.
Uh-huh.
That part's like super creepy. I like that part of the movie too, and it looks really creepy because it looks like it's getting kind of like to dusk at that point, and I don't know. I just imagine like all the work that went into building that scene because there's no CGI or anything in that movie.
right.
So,
That didn't exist then. Yeah,
yeah. And those shoes have a lot of sparkle on them. I've
They're
seen them in
gorgeous.
person.
they're really pretty.
Yeah.
They are really pretty. Yeah, even it's amazing to me that Technicolor could capture that sparkle.
Yeah, because they really did sparkle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing.
Even Glinda's dress was very
oh,
sparkly
I always
too.
thought Glinda was.
Her crown was pretty crazy.
she was
looking.
very pretty. Yes.
What's your favorite scene? Did you say already?
No, I said it
She-
was the Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
scene.
Oh,
Did you
okay,
have
okay.
a
We
favorite
all-
character?
Oh, my favorite character. Oh my gosh. Probably the Tin Man. Probably.
Really?
Mine's
Okay.
a scarecrow.
Mine is the Scarecrow as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember crying in the scene, like when they find out that they really had a heart and they really had a brain,
Or
and when she's saying goodbye to them and she tells the Scarecrow, I think I'll miss you most of all.
Mhm.
So it was always really sad for me. So yeah. What who do you think was more evil, the Wicked Witch of the West or the Queen of Hearts
the Cheshire Cat.
or the Cheshire Cat?
Oh, he was my favorite character in Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Or him and the bunny.
Okay.
I'm late.
The March Hare.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, those were my two favorite.
So, I mean, the Queen of Hearts, she's just,
Angry and
in
entitled.
her station. She's entitled. The Wicked
But she
Witch
kills
of the
people.
West
But she kills people for just not
for no reason.
for no reason.
I
Yeah.
mean, at least the Wicked Witch of the West, she had like very good reason to be mad.
she was mad because her
Her
sister,
sister
got
got
killed.
squished, and then her shoes got taken from her.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
So, yeah, probably the Queen would be more evil.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I have to agree there. I do. She's definitely less justified. And
Mhm.
of course, after reading Wicked, then you see the Wicked Witch in
Oh
another
yeah,
light
because to
as
me
well.
that's totally canon.
Yeah.
Wicked is canon. To me, like,
No wonder she was so mean.
yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like Gregory Maguire and L. Frank Baum are both writing the same universe. Like they
Yeah.
go together.
Yeah, I love that.
So the thing about like the Wizard of Oz is like everybody is actually trying their best
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Wizard of Oz, but in Alice in Wonderland, like literally, he's like, we're all mad. Everybody's mad. Like nobody was trying to be better in Alice in Wonderland.
Mhm.
And actually,
No.
like the characters in Alice in Wonderland are kind of infuriating because they're all selfish.
Right.
Nobody stops to help or explain things. They're just like, well, if you don't know, then
But and that's
know.
the perspective of Alice as a young child. She's like, why do I have to do these things? Why do I have to do these things?
right.
Because
And what,
she's such a young child, and people,
they treat her like
Mhm.
a child.
they treat her like a child.
But they
so-
also did that to Dorothy too.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's the whole
in the
reason
real
why-
world, yes, they did. That's why go away. We're busy. We don't have time for you. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
This
yeah.
is literally what happens to both Alice and Dorothy. The adults are like, we don't have time for you, go away, and that's how they kind of
Mhm.
fall into where they are. Well, sort of. I mean, more for
And-
Alice because she kind of like wanders off and finds herself in trouble. But
Yeah. Well, Dorothy ran away, but then she changed her mind,
and it was too
and
late
it
when
was
she
too
came
late.
back. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah, the insanity of everyone in Alice in Wonderland. It's probably the same reason why I didn't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory growing up, because all of those kids were bad.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
was
Yeah.
just,
You
like,
have no intolerant. You have no
the
tolerance for that.
misbehavior
for the
was
misbehavior.
tolerated, and I can't tolerate that. It just drove me crazy.
Right.
And I think that's what's frustrating. And
I have the same feelings towards those,
Yeah.
because I was raised that you don't behave that way. And
Well, they got what was coming to them.
yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
that's the whole point of all that is
Right.
they were bad,
but the
they
thing,
got what was coming to them.
yeah, the thing is though that like with Alice, she kind of was naughty too. And she wandered off chasing the rabbit or whatever, or she fell asleep. I don't remember what it, it's been a long time since I read that one. So, but, she kind of didn't deserve, she was just, I mean, she was like a very young, very, very young girl. So, but all those people were so, all the people in Wonderland were so, I don't know. They just did their own thing. Yeah.
they did.
Absurd.
They literally did their own
Absurd.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
a really good way for it. Yeah.
And absolutely made no sense. Yeah.
Right.
But
But I guess to a small child, a lot of the things that adults do
doesn't make sense.
wouldn't make sense. So, yeah. So if you're thinking through, you're seeing things through Alice's point of view, even the things that the adults did don't make sense. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? It doesn't make sense, Like the Queen's protocols of how things worked, and
the
whatever.
etiquette and stuff.
The etiquette
yeah.
and stuff. Kids don't understand those. Yeah, so it looks ridiculous, and yeah.
Yeah, there's actually in the made-for-TV version from 1985, there's this scene where they have to cut this cake, and whenever they go to cut the cake in half, it like grows back together. I don't remember the point of that, but that always drove me crazy because
Was that in the second half?
I think so.
Because I don't
Because
remember.
it's really
that from the-
frustrating,
Yeah.
to like, she literally, like, they would cut it and back right before your eyes.
Oh, okay.
Like,
a hallucination. Bad. A bad.
I think
trip.
that's something that they kind of missed out on in the movies was like, so the Disney one had some of those riddles and puzzles and stuff,
Yeah.
but the made-for-TV one just kind of, they like skipped all of that. I felt like the book is full of that, because
it's
that's
been a long
one
time
of the
since I
things
saw that
that
one, so I don't
Lewis
remember.
Carroll was like really known for, like in real life, at parties and stuff, he would give riddles and stuff, and like that's how he was entertaining to people. And in the book, there's a ton of those. Like to me, it seems like half the book is riddles and puzzles, and
Right.
everyone. The absurdity is that everyone was speaking in riddles, and so I feel like that one's definitely, if we're comparing books, that one's a lot more challenging to read.
Oh, absolutely.
Than the
But-
Wizard of Oz. Yeah,
But it was written, well, I mean, The Wizard of Oz was a story told by L. Frank Baum to, was it a niece? I think it was.
or something like that.
Something like that, whose name was Dorothy. Am I mistaken? It's been a long time since I read the story about him. But anyway, it was supposedly something that he was good at telling stories. He wasn't good at much else. He kind of flitted from one job to another. And at some point, he was a publisher, and he was telling stories. And so he wrote The Wizard of Oz for a little girl who may or may not have been ill. And then he carried on writing more stories. I read his biography many, many, many years ago, and it was not nearly as interesting as a made-for-television movie that came out in the 90s, I think, was it, Kristen? Called The Dream of Oz.
Yes, that was so good.
And it had John Ritter played L. Frank Baum. And it, just kind of talked about his life and how he came up with the story. And it was really well done. And it's really hard to find a copy of that, but it was good.
So, speaking of like other stories and adaptations and stuff,
Mhm.
because obviously there's like a ton of them with Alice in Wonderland with like Tim Burton. Those probably one of Amber's
I have not
favorites, right? No,
seen
you don't
that
like
one.
them? Not a fan?
I do not like the Tim Burton versions, and I definitely don't like the Tim Burton version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder all the way.
Yeah, I love
mean-
Gene Wilder. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of makes like a weird Marilyn Manson Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't a big
Alice in
fan. I think I
Wonderland-
only saw him once.
I do love Johnny Depp, but
That was really weird.
Mhm.
I just I couldn't
Ooh.
get in it. Like I couldn't get in it at
Did
all.
you see the one that was it was supposed to be the story of the Wizard of Oz, but I forget what it was called, but it had Franco.
Yeah,
James
it's
Franco.
Oh.
I forgot what it was called, but that
Oz
was really
Great
good.
and Powerful or
Yes,
something like that.
that was really good. I like
now
that one.
one was a good movie.
It was
That one
pretty.
pretty
Okay, I
good.
never saw
It
that
was
one.
different. Like it was like him coming to Oz, and it was all CGI. Like
Well, there was no
literally the
Dorothy,
only
it was like him coming in.
the only thing in the movie were the people, like their bodies. That everything else was CGI.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever see there was I believe it was on Sci-Fi?
Oh, Tin Man.
Tin Man with
Yes.
Chloe
Okay,
Deschanel.
now that
Yes.
is
Zoe
now,
with
we-
Zoe Deschanel. Sorry.
Zoe
we're talking
Deschanel.
about adaptations. That's probably my most favorite adaptation.
I
of
never
Wizard
saw
of Oz.
that one, but it
Yes.
looked really
Oh,
good.
you didn't see it?
No.
That's
Oh,
probably
it was so good.
Yeah, I never got to see that one.
I
but
have
looked
it on
good.
DVD if you want to borrow it.
I might have to watch
yeah,
that.
it's really great.
So have you ever seen The Matrix?
The Matrix. Well,
Yes.
duh.
He follows the white rabbit.
Yeah, Matrix is an adaptation of
Alice
Wizard
in
of Oz.
Wonderland.
And
Alice
so
in
is
Wonderland.
Resident Evil.
Alice in
What?
Wonderland, not the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Yes.
Resident Evil is an adaptation of
Yes.
Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
So
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the main character's name is Alice, and she goes down and follows the rabbit, I guess, down in the hole and has all of her adventures.
in the
With-
beehive or whatever.
yeah,
it was
in the
called.
beehive, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Crazy.
So I'm really excited about the Wicked movie. It looks
I
really
wasn't,
good.
but now I am.
Once you saw the preview,
yeah,
you were
once
like,
I saw the
"Oh."
preview,
Yes.
I didn't
I was
understand the casting until I saw the preview, and I was like, okay,
I
I'm
was
down.
worried when I heard that they were doing it. My fear was that it was going to be the musical, and I will tell you, from the moment that I heard they were making a musical of Wicked, I had already read the book, and my first thought was, that is such a sad story. How could
See,
they
I
make
thought
that
it
into
was
a
gonna be
musical?
I thought the adaptation for the movie was going to be a musical, but
But
it's the
not.
book.
It's
Yeah,
the book. It's the actual story from the book.
Somebody who actually read the book was like, I'm not going to let this continue.
I know people need to know what the book really said.
Well, yeah, the
Right,
book
because-
was so
'cause the
sad.
movies or that
the
musical.
musical was not sad.
It was the musical wasn't even the
And
story.
they changed the story. Like halfway through,
completely
they were like,
changed the
oh, let's
story.
make it happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah, it
musical
was
was
stupid.
not sad at
I
all.
love the
Like,
music from the musical.
oh, yeah, very great music
and
actress.
great acting.
Yeah,
great
acting.
acting. But yeah,
But,
Kristen
like,
Chenoweth, yeah.
fans
Chenoweth
of the
and,
book probably wouldn't be fans of the musical. And man, like that book, just it was so sad. And man, now I got to go back and reread it.
Yes, actually,
know.
so it comes out November 27th of 2024. So it's like right after my birthday.
movie.
So we should totally go. Anyways,
maybe do a
all
Oh,
the
wait a minute.
listeners are
Podcast
like,
about
"What
it?
about me?"
That's
No.
right before our retreat, right?
Right. So I probably want to reread that book again.
Oh, I know.
Because I feel like I read it whenever I was probably like 24 or 25 or something like
Mhm.
that, and I was not as wise in the world then.
Right.
So I think I want to go back and read it again because I mean it made me cry, but
yeah.
there was still stuff where I was just like, "What?"
the heck happened?
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
So now that I'm older, maybe.
Yeah, I know. There was some
I haven't
stuff
had a
in there.
chance
I
to
was
read
like,
the other books.
did
either.
that just happen?
Son of a Witch is
Son of a
like
Witch is
I
really good
like
too.
that
I
one
have
even
not
more.
read any of the other books.
Yeah.
Son of a Witch is so good, and I want to go back and read some of his other books too because
Yeah.
he has Confessions of a Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah, I
Yes.
did read that
And
one. That one's
and
pretty good.
what is that one? Did you got me for
Cowardly
Christ-
Lion. Oh, the Snow.
Oh, there is a cowardly.
Yeah, there is a
Lion one.
Cowardly Lion and a Snow
and then
White
there's
one. Yeah.
one
And an
a
elf
swan,
one.
something about
A Swan in Winter or something.
yeah,
don't
or something
remember.
like that.
I
I haven't read it. Haven't read it yet because I've been reading the Brene Brown book. So, but yeah, it's on my list.
Well, I don't know as much about the compare and contrast. I feel like we may have let the Wizard of Oz beat up Dorothy. Or not Dorothy. Alice.
Alice, poor little Alice.
I know, yeah. So, 3 for the
Well-
Wizard of Oz and 0 for Alice in Wonderland, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
we
Like-
didn't have very compelling argument. I don't know, but
like I said, I like both, and
yeah.
I do like the writing of Alice in Wonderland.
Mhm.
Like, there are many things that I like about Alice in Wonderland, but Wizard of Oz and Return to Oz, those have always been some of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Burton just murdered Alice in Wonderland. That's all I have to say about that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank God he hasn't touched the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, now knock on wood.
Right.
Knock on wood.
Right.
Knock on wood. Oh my goodness.
Just
Now-
wait.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, see, that really surprises me because I know that you're both Tim Burton fans. So,
If we want to do like a whole thing about Tim Burton, I can tell you all of his great movies. Those
Right.
are
I
not
know.
one of them.
right.
Yeah.
That's so
I-
funny, though.
We have like
Yeah.
we did I did in college when I was in film school. We did a whole study on Tim Burton.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he has some really great movies. But I'm not a fan of what he did with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and what he did with the Alice in Wonderland movies.
Okay. Do you think it's because he went so far off the track of what is because it's such the lore is so strong, that he just kind of departed from.
Yes, on the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it was definitely like, not your childhood's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And Johnny Depp was so
Creepy.
oddly creepy and
Yeah.
maniacal. And I'm such a fan of Gene Wilder. And
Mhm.
then, I'm such a fan of the Oompa Loompas and the song and stuff like that.
Right.
And,
Yep. They're my favorite part.
he ruined that
Okay.
in the movie. You know what? I've only seen the movie once because I didn't like
See,
it.
I haven't even seen. I have it,
Like,
and I have it
I
on my
didn't
shelf
like
in
it.
there, but I have never watched it because.
And the same
I
with
don't
the
know
Alice
why.
in Wonderland ones. I've only seen it once because I just now definitely I want to say on the Alice in Wonderland ones Tim Burton went like over and above over the top, especially
Okay.
like on the characters and stuff. And it wasn't bad. Johnny Depp was a good Mad Hatter. It wasn't bad. It was kind of dark. It's just I wasn't a fan.
Okay.
Like the costumes were great and everything like that. It was just not something that I wanted to ever watch again. And I do love Tim Burton. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Corpse Bride. I love Ed Wood. That's probably my favorite movie by him, Ed Wood. I love Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. Like, I love his more like gothic movies as opposed to when he's trying
Coraline?
to be a. Yeah,
I
Coraline.
haven't
was
seen
pretty-
Corpse
Coraline
Bride?
either.
Is there one?
Corpse Bride,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love his more gothic movies as
Mhm.
opposed to like him trying to be a little kiddie movie maker.
Right. Right.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Well, I don't think he's really.
Beetlejuice, yeah.
I don't think he's really
Batman.
trying to. What?
The
Batman.
original
Yeah,
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
See, those are all great movies.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that those movies are bad. I just don't ever want to see them again. You know, they're
Right,
not my
right.
favorite Tim Burton movies.
Right.
Or Johnny Depp movies.
Well, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, I am bringing you the topic of Gardner's 7 intelligences. For those of you who don't know, this is a one psychological
Point of view?
point of view
Mm-hmm.
that that kind of addresses how everyone is has an intelligence, a certain amount of intelligence in different areas. And we'll talk about what those are. If you're kind of curious what those are, you'll have to tune in next week. But it's really interesting. And I think I subscribe to this idea. So that everybody has a bit of genius in them. We just have to find what it is, maybe. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that, and I'm looking forward to getting Amber's perspective as a teacher.
Okay.
You know, as an educator, if you see this as well. But I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, definitely.
All right. Well, we will wrap this episode up, and we will catch you guys next week. But we want to thank Creative Audio Tech for our music and our equipment. And be sure to check us out on our Facebook group, MMC Chat, and of course our blogs and our website at modernmusing.net.
Yay. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So until next time, have a great one.
Adios.
Bye.